Once upon a time, on a sunny farm near a sparkling pond, Mother Duck sat patiently on her nest, waiting for her eggs to hatch. She had 5 eggs, and one by one, they started to crack. Peep! Peep! Out came 4 little yellow ducklings, each one fluffier and cuter than the last. Oh, how lovely you are! Mother Duck quacked proudly as she nuzzled her babies. But the last egg, the biggest of all, hadn't hatched yet. Mother Duck waited and waited. Finally, the big egg cracked open with a crack, and out tumbled a large, gray, fuzzy duckling. Oh dear, Mother Duck whispered, looking at the new baby. He was nothing like his brothers and sisters. His feathers were messy, his neck was too long, and he waddled awkwardly on his big feet. His brothers and sisters stared at him and whispered to each other, "He's so funny looking. He doesn't belong with us." The poor little duckling felt the stares and heard their mean words. He hung his head low. Mother Duck, though, gently nudged him. "Come along, little one. You are still my baby," she quacked kindly. But life on the farm wasn't easy for the strange-looking duckling. The other animals on the farm teased him. The pigs snorted at him. "Look at those silly feathers. What a funny duck," they chuckled. Even the ducks in the pond wouldn't let him swim with them. "Go away," they quacked. "You're not like us." Feeling lonely and sad, the poor little duckling decided to run away. He waddled far from the farm, past the fields, and through the tall grass, until he found a quiet lake surrounded by tall reeds. "I'll hide here," he said softly, tears in his eyes. "No one will ever laugh at me again." As the days passed, the seasons changed. Summer turned to autumn, and the leaves turned gold and brown. The ugly duckling grew bigger, but still he was sad and alone. Winter came, and the cold wind blew across the lake, making the water freeze. One day, as the ice melted and spring began to bloom, the ugly duckling saw a group of magnificent birds gliding across the water. They were swans, their feathers white as snow and their necks graceful and long. They were the most beautiful creatures he had ever seen. The duckling admired them from afar. "I wish I could be as beautiful as they are," he sighed. To his surprise, one of the swans swam over to him. "Why are you hiding here alone?" the swan asked softly. The duckling lowered his head. "I'm too ugly. No one likes me." The swan looked at him kindly. "Come with us. You belong with us." "Me? With you?" the duckling asked, confused. "Look at yourself," said the swan, pointing to the reflection in the water. The ugly duckling leaned over the edge of the lake and gasped. His reflection wasn't the awkward gray duckling he had always seen. Instead, a beautiful white swan looked back at him with bright eyes and elegant wings. I'm a swan?" he asked in disbelief. "Yes," the swan said, smiling. "You always were." The other swans gathered around him, welcoming him into their group. For the first time in his life, the ugly duckling felt happy, loved, and proud of who he was. And from that day on, the ugly duckling, who was no longer ugly but a beautiful swan, glided gracefully across the lake with his new family, knowing he had found where he truly belonged.